I believe today, sorry I'm waffling, but today, is it questions and answers?
Yes, it's Confessions of an Estate Agent, Part 2.
Oh, good grief. It's one of those.
This was directed at me.
Oh, go on then.
Are you back living with your folks?
Listen, I wiped your bum for long enough, you can wipe mine. I found vibrators.
Oh, it was...
I've had every size that you can think of.
Mum, I've
had willy
Let's
warmers.
cut that out, shall we?
No?
Because...
So you don't want to know about the nipple clamps then?
Right.
So today's Garners Couch Club podcast is sponsored by Currencies Direct.
Helping you buy your dream home in Spain. When you're moving money abroad, exchange rates really do matter.
They do. And with Currencies Direct, you get great rates, you get expert guidance, and you get no transfer fees.
And they've got over 20 branches across Spain and friendly teams ready to help you every single step of the way.
So to register with us and for further information on Currencies Direct, all you need to do is visit the Spanish Property Choice website on www.spanishpropertychoice.com and look under the info pages and you can register with Currencies Direct.
Thank you very much to Currencies Direct for sponsoring this episode.
Yes, thank you.
Hello and welcome back to the Garners Couch Club podcast.
I'm Sharon and this is Shaun of Channel 4 Sunseeing and Selling Houses and Spanish Property Choice, located in the beautiful province of Costa del Maria, Spain, and also we now sell in the Costa del Sol.
Yay!
Yay!
How are you, Mother?
I'm okay. I'm okay.
Oh, that was... Yeah? You sure?
Yeah, it's just so busy at the minute. I really... I'm struggling to know what to do next. And I get like... You know what I'm like? When I've got several projects on the go, I like sort of get a little bit stressed.
A little bit.
Just a bit.
Just a little bit.
Tiny bit.
Yeah. I think it's funny in the office because I've taken on a little bit of your role. Like, you know... with you and Dad taking a big step back now and me and Emma kind of getting to the point where we're taking the reins of the business, I feel like I've taken kind of your role and Emma's taken Dad's role.
Absolutely,
so Emma sits in the big boss office at the back and does all the number crunching.
Yeah.
And I'm there like, right, this needs doing.
Why hasn't that window card been changed? Why is it a different colour? Yeah. I mean, the thing is, when you say me and your dad have stepped back, we haven't... Well, we physically stepped back from the offices purely because, obviously, we cause mayhem when we're there. Obviously, we get a lot of fans come in wanting pictures. And when people come in and want to have a chat, you know, I can get a bit loud sometimes and I can waffle. I know
Never
that.
noticed.
And that obviously stops everybody from working. People are on the phones and you've got me going in the background, you know, thank you very much for watching the show. And
No, your worst trick was always I'd be mid-flow. I'd be talking to a client, having a really good conversation, and I was just waiting for it.
Yeah.
Just Mother appearing over the shoulder. And you'd always have your input. With any conversation you'd work yourself into that.
well, you know why? Because Mother knows best.
Well...
You know, and I always come over and say, I hope he's looking after you okay. What are you looking for?
Yeah.
And you know that sometimes that I do come up with some really good ideas for you.
Yes.
You've got to give me the credit on that.
No, you do.
You know?
You do. But, you know, it's important to highlight the fact that you're not in the office every single day now, because the amount of people that do come in and they sort of automatically say, oh, well, we expected them to be here. And, you know, it is the truth now that you have slowed down. We've made you say, okay, you don't have to be 24/7 in the office.
No.
So you're still working, you're still involved in the business as you've always been, but...
Well, obviously, I do all the social media, although you're helping with that now, aren't you?
I was going to say, don't take all the credit.
No. So, obviously, we still do the social media. Me and Steve are travelling down to the Costa del Sol region almost on a weekly basis at the moment because we now sell properties in that area. We are now involved in a lot more social functions that promote the business. And actually, as you're watching this episode, Steve and I are at the UK ambassador's residence in Madrid.
Very posh.
We are there as a sponsor of part of the event, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that on another podcast.
Okay.
But it's all to do with obviously playing a huge part now in the Almeria community and now also the Costa del Sol community. So we're out on the road a lot more.
Yeah.
And also, you know, obviously we're still conducting viewings with clients. But the one thing I was going to say, which I think is important, of course, we do get this situation where people have seen us on the show. And yes, we do go around in twos. I mean, it's not just for the show. We find that if you're out with certain people, they're more comfortable when there's the two of us going, and we have a bit more of a laugh, don't we? But there are times when either you or I or your dad have to go on our own. But currently, we get a lot of requests for either viewings with either myself, Shaun, or Steve, or one of us or two of us. But unfortunately, we can't be everywhere all the time. But we have amazing staff. Andrea in our Mahaka office, she's our little pocket rocket, isn't she?
Yeah.
She's so knowledgeable, and you would really enjoy your time out with her. Obviously, Matt, our son-in-law, who you see on the show, he's out on the road, and I mean, everybody comes back loving Matt, don't they?
Yeah.
And obviously, we've got John down in the Costa del Sol. We've got other staff as well, but obviously we're all there to help you, and they're all trained by us. They have the same ethics, the same standards as we do, and you will get the same service from them that you do from us.
Yes.
I just needed to say that because sometimes the staff at the offices. Oh, and Val. I mean, you know, Val. I forgot to mention Val because, again, Val, isn't she? She's our longest serving employee. Did you know that?
Amazing.
Yeah, I'm still amazed she's still...
Sorry, did the light go off or something?
Oh, here we go again. Every time we do a podcast, it's Nan again. She's here to visit.
I could have swore... As I was looking... Okay. Oh,
Yeah,
God,
did
that
the
was
lights
weird.
flash?
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway.
So obviously what I was trying to say to you, you know, is we have got fabulous staff. They've been with us a long time, and they're so knowledgeable. We'll always get involved if you need our help. We do help them find properties for people as well. They'll contact us, and one thing I wanted to address, because I believe today, sorry, I'm waffling, but today, is it questions and answers?
Yes, it's
Right.
Confessions of an Estate Agent, Part 2.
Oh, good grief. It's one of those. Okay. Well, I forgot what I was going to say now.
It also proves that these podcasts are not scripted. We are literally just like winging it as we go. So yes, you guys absolutely loved the first of the Confessions of an Estate Agent, where we answered your questions and we tried to be as honest as possible. We got ourselves in some hot waters, but it...
Who cares? It's the truth.
Who cares?
The truth is the truth. Yeah.
So thank you again for sending in more questions. We've collated a couple more. Now, because we're wafflers, unfortunately, we don't get through that many of the questions, but
I'm going to get comfy.
we're going to try and see what we can do. So, Irene has asked, do we charge money up front to list a property?
Oh,
no.
right. Well, I had to address this situation very recently. If you check out our Facebook page, you will see a video from me. Well, actually, it wasn't a video. It was a post, wasn't it? But I had to address it because the jungle drums and little birdies were telling me that some agents were, when they were out on viewings with clients, were telling the clients that we charge upfront fees, that we charge our buyers for showing them properties. We have extortionate commissions. What else was it? There was quite a few things. Oh, all we're bothered about is the TV show. We're not bothered about our clients, and most of our clients or our house hunters are actors.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Did you not know?
So as per usual, the one thing you will always get from me is you will get the truth and you will get honesty. We are completely transparent. So I put a post on our Facebook page and I made everything clear. We do not charge and have never charged any of our house hunters for viewing with us. Something else I've just remembered that we were also being accused of keeping clients' deposits. And that is something, once again, we have never kept a client's deposit. If a sale falls through, the deposit goes to the vendor of the property. If the vendor pulls out of the sale, then the vendor has to pay double back to the purchaser. The only time that we ever get any fee of any kind is if one of our vendors break their contract. Now we have contracts with our vendors. It's all clear. They fully understand every time that they sign a contract, this is what happens. If they pull out of a sole agency exclusive contract with us, or they sell through another agent, then there is an admin fee that they have to pay us. And that is purely because by then we've sent people out there, we've had videos done, we've had pictures done, we've done marketing, we've had viewings, and at the end of the day we're a business, we have to be paid, and that's the only time that we ever get any type of money. So the answer to that question is no, we do not charge anybody for viewing with us.
No. And I think it was the other way around as well. It was from a vendor's perspective, because I had that lady that obviously I called. She had a local villa to sell.
You did?
She'd asked me to give her a call, so I spoke to her, and she said, being honest, she was like, Shaun, I was waiting for your phone call, a little bit hesitant, because I'd been told you're going to charge me to list my property and to put it on your website. And I said, no, that's not the case. I think with us over the years, we've always thought of marketing tactics in the benefit of our vendors. We're always there. Of course, we're here to sell houses. And, on our exclusive, our non-exclusive contracts, there's no fees up front. No. The amount of work that we do without even being paid for it, it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
But this lady was being told that we charge to do that. Yeah. And
the one thing, again, I will address, and I will mention this. In 2008, we had the property crash here in Spain, didn't we? And at that time, many of our clients, our vendors, they lost a lot of money. I mean, we're talking the house prices dropped overnight by literally half, didn't they?
Yeah.
And I'll tell you a little story. I had a lady that came into the office in Mahaca, and I was sitting on the front desk, and she was a lovely lady, and we just listed her property, and it was in the Almanzora region, and we'd got it on the market at 109,000. Now, this was a 3-bed, 2-bath villa with a pool, and it was way, way, way below what it should have been sold for. But she got it on with all the other agents at that price, and she asked us to market at that price. We actually valued it at more. Now, she came in and she said to me, we'd only had it for I don't even think we'd had it a couple of weeks. I think it had only been on our website for 1 week. And she came in and she said, Sharon, she said, I've come in to reduce the price of the property. Now, she just lost her husband, so I could understand why she was heading back to the UK. And she came in and she said, I've come in to reduce the price of the property. And I've said, what on earth are you reducing it for? We haven't had a chance yet. I've got the first marketing advert hasn't even come out yet. And she said, I've been told by other agents that I need to bring it down because of the property crash. I need to bring it down below €100,000 and, for it to sell quickly. And I said, that's absolute rubbish. And I said to her, I was quite honest. I said, if you're going to reduce it below 100,000, then I'm taking it off our books. And she sat back in the chair and she looked at me and she said, well, why on earth would you do that? It's got to be better for you. I said, of course, at the cheaper the price of a property, it is better for us. But by you reducing that down, you're making everybody else on your development, those properties will all be worth below €100,000, which is ridiculous because they're worth a lot more than that. I said, and you can't afford to lose any more money on that property. You've lost enough. Just give us a chance. Now, thank goodness she listened to me, and the following week we sold it and we got a full asking price. Now, at the end of the day, at that point, I sat back and I thought, well, this was becoming a regular occurrence. We've got people coming in, they were knocking 50,000 off, they were knocking 30,000 off. Now, I know that's good for a market, for purchasers. I've got to be fair, people picked up a lot of bargains, but at the end of the day, we have to work for both parties. We're employed by the vendor and we have to do what's right. You also have to think about capital gains and things like that. You might buy a cheap property, but you're going to be caught at the end of the day with capital gains when you come to sell it. So people were coming in and they were reducing down. And I said, look, we need to do something about this as well. The average commission at that time for an agent was between 7 and 10% was the average, wasn't it? Now, we opened in 2007 and then obviously the property crash happened in 2008. Yeah, so we really didn't benefit from this 7 and 10% commissions. Now, at that point, I came up with an idea, as I do, and I said, why don't we do a 1% commission, which is what the vendor pays us when we sell the property. We get a 1% commission. But to do that, I still had to run a business. So we actually came up with a 1% commission if the vendor of the property would pay 1% towards advertising. And that 1% would be used solely on marketing the property where I felt it needed, because at the end of the day, just sticking an advert in a newspaper didn't sell houses back then. If it was a big house, it had to be put in magazines. It had to be, you had to do specialised marketing. So we had a lot of clients take us up on that offer because it was either they gave us 1% and a 1% marketing fee, or they were going to pay the other agents 7 to 10%. It was a no-brainer. And we've offered that option since 2008. All the other agents had all these years, up until the last couple of years, earning between... They did drop the commissions down to 5%, didn't they? That was the average. So, all these years, those agents have been getting 5%, where we've been offering a 1% commission, and it got us through a really, really hard time, didn't it, But we still offered our normal commissions, which was 3% and 3.5% during that period for people who didn't want to do the marketing campaign. So that's the only time that we've ever had money up front from a vendor, and that was purely for marketing. But at that, as a thank you for doing that, so we could sell the property quickly in a really, really bad market, we charge 1%. Did that make sense?
I'm really glad we're going to answer these questions quickly, Mother.
Well, I'm trying, it's important for people to know, because at the end of the day, the agents are reducing their commissions down now, and vendors are going with the agents, but they're not. Those people that we sold back, properties for and to back in 2008, 9, 10, 11, some of those aren't here now. That purchase sort of stream have now either gone back or passed away, unfortunately, and that information has never been there. We were the agent that offered the lowest commission ever in this area. And now you've got agents that do offer slightly lower commissions than us, but we've actually got the exposure and we've got the clients waiting. Yeah. So vendors need to know that. Sorry, but that's the truth.
Well, there you go. There's the answer to your question, Irene.
Well, you did ask. Don't ask me questions if you don't want to know the answer.
Okay, so second question. I think I spaced out for like the last 10 minutes. I was like,
well, this is what,
I was like, wow, she's on one.
I'm sorry, this is my job.
You answered it very well.
I'm trying to be clear. Yeah.
So Christine has asked, I'm scared now.
Will you answer it then?
Do you get any rude people coming to you?
Oh, yes.
Now, that's a touchy subject, I suppose, because we do. We get certain clients that come in and they can be extremely rude. But I think we've learned over the years to deal with I suppose like anyone in business, especially if you're face to face with clients and, public relations, then you're going to get people that might push the wrong button sometimes. But I get it. I get some clients that come through the door and you just have to smile and kind of get on with it. But then I always try and put a more positive spin on it.
Yeah.
If someone's being really rude or if it's uncalled for, then, you kind of taught us to just throw them out of the office.
Well, I have actually physically done that, and I think we touched on that on another podcast that we did. Yes, we have clients come in, and vendors come. It's mainly vendors, to be fair, if I'm being truthful, and certainly because we ask for paperwork and things like that, I've had people shout in my face, why are you asking me for all this? I've got it on with 5 other agents. And not one of them have asked me, for any of this. And my answer to them always is, well, don't shout at me. Go and shout at those other agents because they're breaking the law.
But I think it's how people are being rude. Like if you've just got someone that has a rude attitude, I try and just not pay attention to that because I'm like, they could just be having a really bad day. That's not the kind of rude that I take any notice of. But we sometimes do get people coming in straight away, their demeanour's like, you can just tell that it's going to be a difficult conversation.
Well, I think the thing is, let's face it, you've got to be honest, estate agents get a bad rap. I've touched on this before. We're classed as sharks, charlatans, I never really understand that because in a way, the way I look at it is we're doing a job. We're providing a service. We work really hard. We ask for nothing up front. So all the money, people don't understand this, all the marketing, all of your wages, all of the equipment that we have to buy, all the offices and everything, me and your dad have to pay for all of that before we sell a house. If we don't sell a house, we don't get paid a penny. Yeah. So when somebody comes in to put a property on the books, then, we do all of that, all the printing and all the work that we do up front, we do that. Yes, we get paid at the end, but only if we sell the house. Yeah. And a lot of properties are multi-agent, so you can do all that and we can get not paid 1 penny. So to have the attitude that we're all sharks and that, I don't personally know where that comes from. Because I know that we offer the best service possible and we do as much as we can, I
think unfortunately for us, the problem is because we are successful and we're confident in the way we've built the business on family values and, being very friendly and helpful to our clients. Unfortunately, I think that potentially other agents, the only way to deter people from us or coming to us is by speaking badly about us. And then people have they have an idea about us that might be incorrect, but it's not even that. I don't know. The question of do we deal with rude people? But I think you'll have that in any
industry. No business is perfect, and we're certainly not perfect. And if we do something wrong or we mess up, then we'll hold our hands up and we'll say we're really, really sorry.
Yeah. And I'll always be honest with people as well. Even when we're on viewings, I always have the sort of passing joke with a client of saying, when you're on a viewing with us, just be honest. And you get some people that go, oh, don't worry, I will be. Yeah. And there's sometimes on a viewing, especially if the owners are around, where I have to pull the client aside and say, look, there's being honest and there's maybe coming across a bit rude.
Yeah. I think sometimes they do forget that it's somebody's home.
Yes. Yeah.
And we have to be, when we take a property on, we have to be... How would you put it? I'm trying to... we've been into some rough houses, haven't we? And, we have to say it as it is, but in a nice way. And it's to help the sale. So, if something needs decluttering or there's an animal smell or whatever, we have to say it. Yeah. But there is a way to talk to people, I wouldn't just walk into somebody's house and say, your house stinks of dogs. I would say, here's a gift from Spanish Property Choice. There's a lovely candle here. We'll put this on, We'll make your house smell like paradise, coconuts and,
Yeah, I think it's just part of working in a public relation setup.
Yeah.
Literally anyone in business, I'm sure, deals with rude people.
Yeah,
You walk down the street and deal with rude people.
Yeah.
So.
But you will see on social media that neither us or any of our staff get involved in any of the rubbish that's on local forums and things like that. But unfortunately, I did have to address those comments recently. So it's done and dusted.
Yes.
It's on our Facebook page. It's as clear as it possibly can be, and I don't have to repeat it again.
Okay.
Woohoo!
Keith.
Keith
asked.
What would you like to know?
This was directed at me.
Oh, go on then.
Are you back living with your folks?
Sorry. Sorry, I just choked on my drink.
No, is the answer to that. Not that my mother would be traumatised, obviously, by the thought, but...
Oh, that went down the wrong hole.
No, I'm definitely not. It couldn't be any further from the truth. I actually purchased my first property on my own back in December.
You did?
2024. And I am living there very, very happily, me and the cats. So... I mean, I miss home. I do miss...
You miss my cooking, don't you?
No, I miss home. I miss the feeling of home. But let's face it, me and you, not that we didn't get on well, but living together, it was interesting.
Yeah, because you'd never listen to me.
Exactly.
Yeah. The one thing about Shaun, I learned from a very, very young age, if you tell Shaun he can't do something, he does it. And he will make sure he does it. I mean, I told him about the tattoos. I said, look, I can't stop you. You're an adult now. Tattoos, yes. But if you're going to have tattoos, then you don't have anything that can be seen whilst you're working. So long sleeves. And then... Yes, you can put your finger up, because then the next minute he starts having them on his hand and that.
I'm such a rebel.
You are a rebel.
Oh, dear.
Yeah. But it's, we are in a business, and I always think you have to, project yourself in a certain way. We are honest, we are open, we do have a laugh and we do have a joke. But I don't want you going around. I love tattoos, I've got one of my own, but I don't want to see tattoos. I mean, I would be very, very, very upset if you had I love neck tattoos. Pete Wicks looks absolutely gorgeous.
Mum, we're talking about me living at home. This is my point. This is my point. This is why I don't live at home and definitely couldn't move back in, because...
Yes, but I'm just trying to guide you. What I'm saying is, it's not that we didn't get on. It was because I was trying to guide you in the right path. And I think me and your dad have done a blooming good job, because all I get from people is how wonderful Shaun is, how beautiful and how helpful Emma is, how wonderful your grandchildren are, and that comes from the parents.
100%. I'm just very, very stubborn.
You are.
I'm a very stubborn person.
Yeah, and you just like me.
I have a short temper, and... Yeah,
we are so. But the problem is we're too alike.
Exactly. Yeah.
But I remember. I think it was in series 1. We filmed a little bit of me and you chatting, and then I think they used it in the opening credits. And you said about something about we bounce off each other, and I said, yeah, physically sometimes, because that's how we've always been. I mean, don't get me wrong, we've never laid a hand on you, but I'm talking about as in bouncing it off against each other. Yes, we do, don't we? In a loving way, but in a guiding way, but you just won't listen. And I keep telling you, Mother is always right.
Well, the good thing is I know that the doors to your home are always open, so I'm just going to keep you, on the edge of your seat. Maybe one day. One day I'll move back in. No,
well, you will have to move back in, because you've got to come and look after us when I'm older. I'll need somebody to get me in and out of bed, take me to the toilet.
You pay people for that now.
No, I don't need to. I've got beautiful children. Listen, I wiped your bum for long enough. You can wipe mine.
No, thank you. No, thank you very much. I assume Keith's asking that because obviously doing the podcast now and it's at your house, I'm up here all the time. But no, I definitely haven't moved.
We see a lot of you there, don't we?
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely. Claire has asked, what's the longest time searching for a property? So I think she's asking, what's the longest time a client that we've dealt with has been looking for a property? And this is something that I deal with every single day, and it's a conversation I have with every single one of my clients, is you need to be ready.
Yeah.
When the time is right, it'll happen.
Yeah.
You know, we guide people. I was with some clients yesterday. They haven't sold in the UK yet, but they're over here. They wanted to have a little look around. And I said, of course, yeah, we'll give you all the information that you need. I think that is such an important step of moving to Spain, is coming over, doing a recce on the area, seeing what's available. However, until you are ready and you're 100% either, okay, we're in the financial situation to buy, or now the family's ready, then that's when you need to say, okay, let's seriously start looking.
Yeah, I think that there's nothing worse than coming over, finding that dream home and not being able to move forward on it. I mean, you know, yes, we can do extended completions, and we have. I mean, we've had completions 12 months on, and you just do an extended contract. That gives them time to sell in the UK. But it's a risk, because if they still don't sell, then they lose their deposit, obviously. Yeah. So it is a big risk. I remember, do you remember Jackie? Jackie and Ian?
The names ring a bell, but...
Jackie. We've been friends for a long time, and I'd been talking to Jackie for many, many years before they finally moved over, her and Ian. And she was literally waiting for Ian to retire. And she bought a beautiful house in Villarrubio. Gorgeous house. It was a dream house. You looked out over all the fields and that. Nice. It was gorgeous. We became really, really good friends. The sad part about the whole thing is they were living the dream, and then, God bless Ian, not long, it was a very, very short period of time after they'd finally moved in and their dream had come true, Ian had cancer. He was diagnosed with cancer, and literally a couple of months later he'd passed away. And I'll never forget that feeling, because, you know, I kept thinking, well, they've waited all this time to retire, to enjoy life, and then that happens. And I used to say to Jackie, just do it now. Yeah. Do it now. Don't wait, because you never know what's around the corner. And then blow me, it happened, you know. And that's always stuck with me, because Ian was such a wonderful man. And you know, they were living the dream at that point, and they were hoping to have many, many years together there. You know, so...
but timing is everything. I mean, the amount of clients that... they make the initial contact with us, and we'll talk to them, and we'll spend, you know, weeks, if not months, back and forth, and kind of giving them all the information they're looking for. But at some point, you have to say to them, okay, are you ready yet? You know, are you ready to make the big move, whether it's financially or within your family or with your work? Are you in the position? Are you ready to move forward? Because I think you can be looking for properties for too long. And really, to answer the question, I'd probably say the longest I had, it was probably about 2 years with a client that I was back and forth with, and they did eventually come over and buy, but obviously they were watching what the market was doing, and it was up and down, and then they missed out on half of the houses they wanted, and they eventually said, right, okay, we'll just bite the bullet and go for it. But the amount of people, and especially now with the way the market is, and we are selling them... You can't
afford to wait at the moment.
No.
You can't, because, you know, they are literally selling... I mean, we're selling properties before they're even getting onto the books.
But we're finding some of the clients as well. I mean, it used to be something we'd do quite often, where clients would come over, and even if they said, look, we're not really in the position to buy yet, we'd still take them out and show them a load of houses, because the houses were available. Owners... back in the day were a little bit more eager to sell because they had so much competition on the market. Whereas we can't and we don't really do that anymore. Like, we'll still offer, we'll do whatever we can, but our vendors are saying, the market's that busy.
Yeah.
I'm going to sell it no matter what. So don't bring me people.
Anybody that's not ready to buy.
Yeah. And then that's hard for us to relate to a buyer, because they think, oh, well, you don't want to take us out. But that's not the case. It's, I can take you out and I can show you what we've got available, but probably in 1 week's time, they're not going to be available anymore.
Yeah.
And if you're still not in the position to buy them.
Well, actually, that's you've just reminded me. I had a Facebook question on our couch club that I do for Sunsea Selling Houses. I do a 30-minute countdown to the episode starting, and a lady put on there. Unfortunately, I can't remember her name. It just came to me, the question, and she actually said, I can't believe that that these people come over, only see 3 properties and buy one of them. Now, and then she also said as well in the comment that I think that they know, sometimes they, not just us, that all of the agents, they know the clients. It seems as though they know the clients because you can tell by the way they treat them. Well, of course, because that is the point. They are genuine clients that we've, certainly from our point of view, I don't know about the other agents, but from our point of view, we've been dealing with the clients for a long time. We get to know them. We talk to them on the phone. They may have come over and viewed with us 2 or 3 times before, and then an opportunity becomes available to film with us for the show, and obviously they're over here at that time, so they film with us. Now, the 3 properties that we choose to show them on the show, those are picked normally by us. I mean, we do have this laugh about, I pick this one and we pick, but we don't. We're all 3 of us. We sit down and we pick the best. We don't show them the properties, the 3 properties, we don't show them beforehand. But they may have seen them already on the website. They may have indicated that they liked it on the website. It may be one of their favourites on the website, but they don't physically get to see it until we take them, because we want their natural reaction. But we spend a lot of time trawling not just our own website but all the other agents' websites, and we will find the right property. If we haven't got it, we will find the right property for them, and that's why it's like that on the show. Yeah. So that was to answer her question, but I do apologise because I can't remember the lady's name. But yeah. So
yes, I think, moral of the story is, you can be looking for properties for too long.
Yeah. And it must be hard for people at the moment, because we've gone through Brexit, which really didn't affect the market for us at all. In fact, we've never had such busy years since Brexit, because people they've still moved. It's just that, and that's another point to get out to people as well. You can still move, you can still have that dream. It's just that people have had to think of it in a different way. If you don't want to become a resident, or you can't afford to become a resident, then the simple answer is you downsize in the UK, you buy a smaller property in the UK, and you buy a holiday home here, and you've got the best of both worlds. 6 months in England, 6 months in Spain. And that's what I would say, 70% of our people who purchase from Spain have done, and they're all perfectly happy. We now have this issue with 100% tax rubbish that Sanchez is talking about, but that but that puts people off. You see, makes people worry. But the thing is, there's always going to be something that's going to crop up, whether it be here in Spain or in the UK. There's always something. So don't put it on hold. Get out here and get it bought. Yeah.
And buy through Spanish Property Choice.
You don't need to go to any other agents. We can do all the work for you. And just to, actually, I'm just going to mention this. Sorry.
Oh, Jesus Lord.
Anybody that is looking for properties with Spanish Property Choice and with the Garners, just to let you know that if you do actually contact other agents, they will automatically register you as their client. So if you do need our help in any way, and you want us to find you the property, we can't do that because you'd be already registered with that other agent. So if you're not registered with that agent, just contact us and
we'll do it
for you. We'll do everything for you.
Okay, so the last question, and I don't even think I can answer it. Lee asked, what item have you had to quickly hide on a viewing? Okay, without going into too much detail, and it is going down the route that most people will think with this kind of question. I once went to view a property. It was owned by an elderly gentleman, English gentleman. He was a lovely old little granddad, you know, that sort of person. And I ran around the house quickly just to, you know, make sure everything was okay. On the bedside table was a box that was open that was, in my opinion, purposely on the bedside table and open, full of adult things that shouldn't be on show.
Vibrators. I found vibrators.
Oh, it
I've
was-
had every size that you can think of.
Mum,
I've had willy
let's
warmers.
cut that out, shall we?
No,
Because that
no.
is...
They've asked a question. I've asked a question. I had a willy warmer.
Mum, I don't want to hear you say the words. I've had all kind of sizes and willy warmers.
And I've had whips.
So,
I've had to move a whip off the wall.
But no, this was...
No. You've asked the question.
No.
I've actually had to literally move lubrication gel and use tissues.
Oh, don't shut up.
You've asked me the question, and I have had to move that, and I've had to put it in the drawer, and then I've had to go and disinfect my hands, and that's God's honest truth. And that's when somebody's known that I'm going round to do viewings. So yeah,
but mine was. I mean, you can have a forgetful moment, and if you're living in the house, things might still be on show, but not a purposely left out box of all these different things open. It was done on purpose. I was like, what are you looking to achieve?
Yeah, but they know that you go very red anyway. Oh, that's
Mother, every episode. How many tablets do you need to take?
That's me 130 tablets. I'm on 12 tablets a day. I can't help it. I have to remind myself.
Well, do you know what? That is perfect timing because that conversation was going completely
What,
the
you don't want to know? You don't want to know the other things I found?
I don't want to hear you even say the word.
Okay. So you don't want to know about the nipple clamps then?
Right.
Oh, and the false teeth. I've moved many a false teeth, yeah.
Yeah, there's lots of different things that we get to say. I mean, honestly, we do the podcast, we do the show, but if they filmed us just going in and out of houses, the amount of houses we see, honestly, we have seen some sights.
Yeah, I actually think we need to talk to Sandy, our big producer, don't we? And we need to say to him, like, we need to do an offshoot show of us literally doing take-ons and showing what we have to do on a day-to-day basis
for a spin-off show.
Yeah, because
the Garner giggles.
They would not believe us. They would not believe us. Honestly, I mean, obviously, all that sort of thing. I mean, it was daytime TV. It's now prime TV. Sunset and Selling Houses. But obviously, there's only so much they can show. But they certainly can't show nipple clamps and willy warmers.
Okay. Well. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in to yet another episode of the Garners Coach Club podcast. I don't know where this episode ended up.
You asked the question. Don't ask questions if you don't want an honest answer.
As always, please make sure you like, comment as much as you want, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and please share any of our videos, our podcasts, our social media posts, and also tune in to Sunset and Selling Houses Series 8, which is currently on Channel 4, 6 p.m. UK time, 7 p.m. Spanish time, Monday to Friday.
Well done.
Yeah, I don't know how I managed to get through that.
Well, I hope you've had a shazza tingle. And I'm actually going to go and see if I can. I had some nipple clamps somewhere. I might go and get them out.
Yes, okay, Mother. Oh, no. And until Am I red yet? Has it happened? Am I red? Until next week's episode. See you later.
Bye.